Hi and welcome to Whiskey Shared. You're watching my review of Stauning Rye. I'm Toby and you're watching Whiskey Shared. Welcome to my review of Stauning Rye. If you're not familiar with Stauning, well, it's a Danish whiskey distillery and it was started back in 2005 by a group of friends in Denmark that decided that they wanted some Danish whiskey. This particular whiskey came to me as part of my Sumton subscription and was £50. This particular bottle is a rye whiskey made up of 70% malted rye and 30% malted barley, and it's non-chill filtered and 48% ABV. Should we find out what it tastes like? On to the whiskey. So before I start nosing and tasting, let's have a quick look at the colour. I'd say that is like a russet. Really is a lovely shade. Let's start with the nose. Right, so the first thing I get with this is it's quite herbal. I'm getting like linseed oil, like window putty, and I normally do get that on rye. I think that is a characteristic of the rye grain. I'm getting some ginger. I'm getting some malt. I'm getting some baking spices. There's a hint of tobacco in there. There's some fresh oak. I'm also getting like cooked apples, like apple pie. Really is nice getting that sort of fruity note in there as well. Let's move on to the palate. Yeah, so the first thing I get with this is it is a little bit malty, is a little bit spicy, which I'd expect from a rye whiskey. There is that sort of herbal and sort of linseed oil window putty note, which is really quite nice on this. But yeah, it's definitely starting off as I'd expect a rye whiskey to do. Let's have another sip. Yeah, so after a second sip, that sort of herbal note with that linseed oil really does ramp up, as does the spiciness. I'm also getting some vanilla and some brown sugar. It really is sort of sweet, but not too sweet for me. I do like sweet whiskies, as you may already know if you watch me regularly, but this isn't overly sweet. I think the spiciness and that herbal note really does blend well with that sweetness. Let's have one final sip. Yeah, so just like on the nose, I'm getting cooked apples, and it really is quite nice. It's like those sort of stewed apples in apple crumble or apple pie. It really is quite nice. And I'm getting some sort of old, like used wood. In terms of finish though, I'd say it's long. There is that dry wood, there is the vanilla, there is the apples, there is the linseed oil, and there is that sort of chili pepper. But it's not overly spicy. I think the heat and the spice is quite nice, and I actually think it probably drinks a little bit lower than its ABV. So for 48% ABV, I think it actually comes across a little bit lower, maybe sort of 45, 46 is how it feels. In terms of value, well, I paid £50 as part of my Sumton Whiskey Club subscription, and this, I think at the time, because I've had this a while now, I think at the time it was more than that by a decent amount, but I think you can find it for around the sort of £55 mark online. I think at £55 I'd probably buy another bottle of this. I think it's more like a traditional rye, but I think the fact that it has those sort of fruity notes, those sort of orchard fruit notes, I think is really nice. It really works for me. If you tried this whiskey, let me know in the comments. As always, I'd love to hear what you think of it. And if you've tried something else from Stauning, maybe something that you'd recommend, maybe something you think I should try, then also let me know. I'm always interested to seek out new whiskey. Hopefully you found that interesting, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Stauncher.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like or a comment, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this.